Welcome back to Iraqi Dinar News, your most trusted source for everything related to the future of the Iraqi dinar and its global implications. As the revaluation conversation gains serious momentum in 2025, a new layer of concern has emerged, one that could shape how you exchange your IQD when the moment arrives. If you've been preparing, stacking, and waiting for the day the rate changes, you'll want to listen closely. Today's report dives into insider insights about Chase Bank and the possible restrictions they might impose on dinar exchanges. What you hear next could completely change how you plan for this financial event. As revaluation buzz spreads across financial circles, the spotlight has shifted to major U.S. banks and how they'll manage this process. Chase Bank, with its massive footprint and institutional leverage, is now at the center of these discussions. According to several credible sources and private sector advisors monitoring the situation, Chase is expected to implement daily exchange limits once the revaluation is announced. While this may not come as a complete surprise, the implications could be significant for IQD holders hoping to cash in large amounts quickly. Why would Chase, or any major bank, introduce such limits? The answer lies in logistics. A sudden and unrestricted flood of currency conversions could disrupt liquidity, destabilize internal banking systems, and overwhelm customer service infrastructure. That's why Chase is likely to roll out measured protocols. Based on what's being discussed behind closed doors, it's expected that standard Chase account holders might be able to convert between $5,000, 0 cents, to $10,000, 0 cents worth of dinar per day. For premium clients and those in private banking or wealth management tiers, the limits may be expanded to around $25,000, 0 cents, to $50,000, 0 cents daily. Although these figures remain speculative until confirmed, they are consistent with how banks have historically handled high-volume conversion events. Your eligibility to exchange will likely be tied to your account history, verification status, and documentation quality. And speaking of documentation, Chase will almost certainly require proof of legal ownership before proceeding with any IQD exchange. That includes receipts, authenticity certifications, and possibly tax identification or prior bank statements tied to your purchases. If you haven't already gathered these materials, now is the time to organize everything. Your ability to move swiftly when the time comes will depend on how ready you are to meet these compliance checks. These protocols aren't meant to delay your exchange. They're designed to protect the bank from legal issues under anti-money laundering regulations and to ensure the system operates smoothly during this extraordinary event. There's also growing chatter that Chase might stagger its exchange services in phases. This means priority could be given to long-standing clients with high account balances or verified business portfolios. Instead of opening the doors to everyone on day one, Chase may choose a tiered rollout. This isn't about favoring the wealthy, it's about maintaining control and ensuring a manageable client experience. A phased approach helps limit stress on systems, gives staff time to process verification documents, and keeps things orderly. Another layer of consideration is cash access. Let's say you walk into Chase with IQD valued at $100,000, 0 cents, and complete a successful exchange. You might imagine walking out with the full amount in US dollars, but realistically, that won't happen. It's far more likely Chase will impose daily withdrawal caps, potentially in the $5,000, 0 cents to $10,000, 0 cents range. The rest of your converted funds will most likely be made available via wire transfers or deposited into your account for scheduled access. This structured disbursement model prevents cash shortages across branches and keeps operations sustainable. That's why now is the time to think ahead. Sit down with a Chase banker or your preferred institution's representative and ask what options you'll have once revaluation happens. If caps are applied, how can you access the remainder of your funds? How long might transfers take? These are the kinds of questions that need answers before the moment arrives, not after you're standing in line. So far, there's been no official confirmation from Chase or the Central Bank of Iraq regarding these potential limitations. However, financial professionals closely tracking RV developments emphasize the importance of preparing for a controlled exchange rollout. Attempting to rush in, expecting unlimited access to your funds, could lead to major disappointment if the bank implements the restrictions we've outlined. Let's now examine what leading voices in the dinar community are saying about Chase Bank's potential limitations and the broader implications for IQD holders. One of the most prominent commentators, Frank26, has consistently emphasized the likelihood of daily exchange caps and withdrawal restrictions. He argues these measures would not be permanent but necessary during the early stages of revaluation to ensure smooth execution and prevent institutional disruption. According to Frank, the goal is to stabilize the system, not to block or delay access for investors. The takeaway here is clear: don't panic, plan ahead. Preparation starts with the basics. If you haven't opened an account with a major U.S. bank like Chase, now is the time. Even if you plan to use a different institution later, having an active account could give you more flexibility when the RV occurs. It also positions you to benefit from faster onboarding when bank systems begin processing exchange transactions. Equally important is the paperwork. If you purchase dinar through a currency dealer, locate and secure your proof of purchase documents. These might include dated receipts, certificates of authenticity, and any documentation showing source of funds. Proper records will not only satisfy bank compliance checks, but also help protect you from legal complications later. Identity verification will likely include official government-issued ID, social security details, and possibly tax forms to ensure compliance with U.S. anti-money laundering regulations. Next, it's smart to build a relationship with your bank's staff. If you have a local Chase branch, speak directly with a banker and ask how currency exchanges might be handled in the future. While they won't confirm anything specific ahead of time, getting familiar with the process and personnel can only help. Some clients may be fast-tracked through the system based on their history and standing with the bank. A known client is often easier to assist than someone walking in cold during a high-traffic event. Also keep in mind that this may not be a one-and-done transaction. Depending on the amount of IQD you hold, your exchange might need to be spread across several days or weeks. The earlier you accept that possibility, the less stress you'll face when the process begins. Having realistic expectations about limits, processing time, and fund access will make the experience far smoother. The revaluation will likely roll out in waves, and staying informed could help you time your exchange more effectively. Now, what happens if you don't live near a Chase Bank branch or are located outside the U.S.? In that case, research alternative options now. Major banks like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and even certified foreign currency dealers may also be part of the exchange ecosystem. While each institution will have its own protocols, most are expected to mirror each other in terms of compliance and risk control. Studying Chase's likely approach can give you a practical template for what other banks may implement. Beyond logistics, it's also essential to look at the broader economic landscape. Iraq has made steady progress in recent years, boosting oil output, rebuilding infrastructure, and establishing better control over its financial institutions. These efforts are key to why many experts believe the IQD revaluation is not just possible, but increasingly probable. That's why U.S. banks like Chase are beginning internal preparations now to ensure they are fully operational when the change becomes official. And let's not forget, events like this are rare. When a national currency undergoes a significant revaluation, it's not a casual occurrence. Systems must be protected, compliance must be enforced, and customer expectations must be managed. It's highly likely that the early weeks of the revaluation will be the most regulated. Over time, as demand levels out and systems normalize, banks may relax restrictions. But until then, every serious IQD holder must be ready for structure and patience. If you hold a large amount of Iraqi dinar, financial planning becomes even more critical. Now is the time to consult professionals, wealth advisors, tax attorneys, estate planners, Should you wire funds into a brokerage account, set up a trust or LLC, diversify into other asset classes? These are all questions best answered before your dinar becomes liquid capital. A solid financial strategy today could preserve and multiply your post-RV gains. As we wrap up this analysis, remember that the Iraqi dinar's possible revaluation isn't just about potential profit, it's also about responsibility. Banks like Chase may introduce limits on daily exchanges and withdrawals, not to withhold access, but to maintain systemic stability. This protects both the financial institution and investors like you. If you've waited this long, don't let unpreparedness ruin your opportunity. Thank you for tuning in to Iraqi Dinar News. If today's deep dive helped clarify your expectations and strategy, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Are you preparing for these limits? Have you already started speaking with your bank? Let us know how you're planning your move when the revaluation officially hits. Stay sharp, stay ready, and stay informed. Your future with the IQD may be closer than you realize.